Good morning, it's Brad, hashtag Think Nashville, Think Brad. And in addition to being a real estate agent, I am the best basketball player ever watched on camera. But before I became either one of those, I had to practice long and hard, and my best basketball days are behind me. My best real estate days are ahead of me. But how did I get to be licensed to sell real estate? Well, in this video, I'm going to tell you about 8 concepts you must know if you want to pass the real estate exam like I did over 10 years ago. Our first concept is one of the hardest ones to understand in real estate, and admittedly after 15 years, I still struggle with it. Real property versus personal property. Real property or real estate versus personal property. The real property is the house and the dirt it sits on. You can pick up that dirt, you can touch that house. The personal property are the intangible, the tangibles, the fixtures in the house, any of the things that do not stay with the house. So it could be intangible or tangible. So let's say you've got something like a fixture. Is that real property or personal property? Well, it initially starts as personal property, but once it's affixed or screwed to the house, it then becomes real property. That is truly hard to understand, but you'll want to see the link below for further clarification on each, on real versus personal property. Number 2, title versus deed. A title is a legal ownership in the property, whereas a deed shows the transfer of property from one person to another. It's written down on paper and shows ownership going from one party to the other. Number 3, fair housing laws. As an agent, you are representing your client and need to do so to the best of your ability. And the best way to do that is to know the laws that govern part of what we do. These include the Civil Rights Act of 1964, fair housing laws, and antitrust laws, which mainly deal with the consumer and the best ways and how we're to treat them. Number 4, legal rights. Think of these like a bundle of rights. When a person buys a property, it comes with certain rights that they enjoy. Think of it like a bundle of sticks in that they can be bundled together and broken off for different reasons to different people. These rights include the right of possession, control, exclusion, disposition, and enjoyment. So there's 4, but we've got 4 more to go. So you're going to want to make sure you watch all the way until the end if you want to pass that real estate exam.
Home box office takes a brief intermission.
And number 5 is appreciation versus depreciation. Appreciation is the gain in any property over time for any cause, while depreciation is the loss in value over time of a property for any cause. There are 3 main types of depreciation. They are functional obsolescence, economic obsolescence, and physical deterioration. Number 6, government powers. There's 4 big government powers you need to know here, and you can remember those by thinking of the acronym PETE, P-E-T-E. Police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat. So first is police power. Police power is essentially the government kind of telling you what you can and can't do with your property. It includes zoning, rent control, and other things like that. Again, that's where they're kind of setting some of the boundaries to tell you how you can use your property. Eminent domain is when your property is taken from you by the government. You are paid compensation based on its condemnation value. The next one is taxation. Taxation is just part of owning real estate. Property and taxes go hand in hand. Keep in mind that the rates are set by local and state governments. And the last one, escheat. Properties that have been escheated are a property where someone has died that owned it and no heirs have stepped up, so it reverts back to the government. Make sure if you own property, you make sure it's willed to someone, because I don't think property should ever go to the government when you die. Number 7, types of ownership. So there's essentially 2 main types of ownership, concurrently and severalty. Severalty is when you own a property just by yourself. Concurrent ownership is when you own the property with others. There's 2 main types here, tenancy in common and joint tenancy. Joint tenancy, remember the acronym TTIP, time, title, interest, and possession with the right of survivorship. So if I own the property in this way and I die, the property goes to whoever I own it with. It cannot be willed to my heirs. While tenancy in common is the exact opposite. If I own it with someone and I die, it can be willed to my heirs. That's the 2 biggest differences on the whole. And last but not least, number 8, appraisal methods. We've got 3 main types here, the income approach, the cost approach, and the sales comparison approach. Income approach. This is mainly used for income/investment properties. It's essentially the value is derived from what the property rents for and then taking some multiples to come up with a value. cost approach. This essentially is what a property is worth if it were to burn to the ground and you had to rebuild it sans depreciation. It's going to be easier with newer buildings because it's easier to know their value, and it's going to be harder with older buildings on the whole. The last is the sales approach. We're looking at properties that have sold close by recently, ones that are similar, to get a value based on that. And that's what almost all real estate transactions are done wise when it comes to the appraisal. So if you're watching this, and if you're going to be soon taking the real estate exam, whether in Tennessee or somewhere else in this wonderful country of ours, don't be afraid. You just got to put in the work. You're not going to know these concepts, these things overnight. So sit down, watch this video on repeat mode with the rest of my videos, and study other people's channels as well. And I guarantee you, if you do that, you have a great shot at passing the exam. And as always, if you need us for real estate, we're always around. Our contact info is below, and we hope to hear from you soon.